Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Paint Desk Ramblings. Back from a summer break that lasted a fair bit longer than I had intended, but life happens. I've been away to northern Sweden for some vacation, trying to escape the heat, only to find out that the heat was concentrated in that area. But now I'm back, and I'm ready to do some hobbying. Tonight's episode will be about money and its relation to the Ninth Age. I see discussions popping up about this every now and then on the forums, though not as much lately as maybe a few years ago. But it happens. People are posting ideas about how they think the Ninth Age should handle money. Generally, they want to see more of it in the project to help spread it basically. So I'll look into some of those ideas that people have. Discuss them a bit. My own stance is that the project has a pretty good approach, but I'll try to see it from other points of view and bring up different ideas. First though, we will shine the hobby spotlight. And tonight I am working on a little orc. I've taken a break from my vermin swarm because I need to figure some things out about how I will proceed with them. I'm a bit undecided about how I will do their basing. I'm thinking maybe I will do snow basing on them. I've never done that before on a large project. I've done it on terrain only previously, so it would be interesting to try out, but I need to give it some more thought. I also need to figure out how I will do their shields, but I think I have an idea for that now. I will just try and use a red spray paint to get a nice base coat and then highlight it a bit and do some freehands perhaps. So that's the current status of my vermin swarm. So while I figure that out, I'm picking up my Empire of Zornstal again. So right now I'm working on an orc that I'll be using in the army. It's from Warmonger Miniatures. This particular miniature is called Borkork, and I have quite a few miniatures from them, all orcs that I am using in my Empire of Stormrider army, because they have a fantastic range of orcs in Landsknecht uniforms. This particular one doesn't really have a Landsknecht uniform, which I think is a shame, but I wanted this one because he has a bow, and I'll be using him as an Imperial Ranger for that reason, which will bring my unit up to 5 models, so it will be playable, and it will consist of 2 humans, 2 halflings and 1 orc, so a fair mix, which I like. So that's it for the hobby spotlight. I'll show some pictures up on the screen. You should have seen those already. But we will move on to news instead. So since I've been away for like 5-6 weeks, maybe 7 even, not keeping count, there of course has happened a lot, though not as much as you might expect, because things do slow down over the summer. But I won't go through it all. I'll take some highlights from the time that has gone past, starting with the ETC. So I doubt anyone has missed it, but some weeks ago the largest 9th Age tournament in the world happened, the European Team Championship, which is well, hardly only European anymore, but that's fine. I won't go into much detail. I'm sure that there are others who have done a lot of work to cover it with superb content. I just say that I know that Germany won, so congratulations to them. And Sweden finished in 14th place out of 36, so not exactly good, not exactly bad. But I'm still impressed with their skill, and glad that they made it so far. So the next big news item is the fight for Avras, which is a campaign that has been started to run on the site. You participate by playing games, writing fluff and battle reports, or you can write rules even, and you can also paint both miniatures and terrain. You share this on the site and generate points for the faction you are supporting. From the start it was only Vermin Swarm, Empire of Zornstahl and Empire Covenant who participated in the campaign, but I know other factions have been unlocked. I think it's really awesome, this campaign that they are doing, and I hope to be able to join with some painting at least soon. I haven't really been bothered to look that much into it, I'm afraid, and I'm not. I don't know. I feel a bit intimidated by it all, and I know I shouldn't, but yeah, for some reason it doesn't click with me. But as I said, I think it's really cool, and I hope that you'll check it out if you're interested. So, moving on, we also have the internal balance survey that was started last week, or this week actually. So the project sent out or created a bunch of different surveys, one for each faction, that you can fill out and rate each option in the book on how good that option is. So you have a 1 to 5 scale, where 3 is perfectly balanced, 1 is overpowered, you take it in every list, and 5 is underpowered, that you never use. So go check those out and fill them out. It's really helpful for the project when it comes to balancing the game. And keep in mind that this is only for the internal balance, so the goal is to get every unit in every army playable. It's not to identify which army is the strongest and nerf things into the ground. So check those out. I'll provide links down below as usual. The last piece of news I will bring up is a miniature company. I thought I should mention at least one. And the one I've chosen is BattleBits, which is a brand new company. They are just starting up. And they are preparing to run a Kickstarter for their Ratman conversion parts. So the idea is pretty simple. They make bits that you can buy and use to convert up your miniatures. In this first batch, this Kickstarter, they are making bits to convert Yesails and Grenadiers, basically. So I think it looks interesting. I myself will probably be getting 2 of each set, maybe 3 of the Yesails, don't know. Need to shake this a bit more. It seems that being away for 5 months causes the paints to separate a bit more than usual. So I'll provide a link down below to their Kickstarter pre-launch page. I think it looks interesting, and I really hope that they will get funding, because I've been a bit concerned with how I will make those more high-tech elements of my Vermin Swarm army. So this should really help me out. Ooh, this is turning out to be a really cool skin color for this orc. A lot browner than I had intended. But the background of the orcs in 9th Age says that they have very earthy skin colors, from green to brown and ochre and all that stuff. So I think it can be cool. I'll just go along with this. Okay, so that's it for the news, I think. Keeping it rather short. But we'll move on to the main topic. And that is money and the 9th Age. So first we should look at the situation today, how the project handles money and why. So being a non-profit volunteer project, you think that the project doesn't have any need of money, that it doesn't use it at all, but that is not quite true. They have some expenses in the shape of running costs for their site, so servers and such, and to cover that they accept donations. So I'll provide a link to where you can read about that and also donate if you want to. I find it really strange how difficult it is to find on their site, but it is what it is. So they need about $370 every year to sustain themselves. They have also written though that they are open to using these funds for different purposes too, such as marketing and other things, printing books maybe. So you can even choose to, when you donate, you can choose to donate for a specific purpose if you want to. So that's cool. Go and do that if you're feeling generous. Another thing to note about the 9th Age and money is that their license that they use on all their products, that you previously, when you downloaded things, I think they've gotten rid of this now, but I'm not sure. You had to check a little box and accept the terms and conditions and all that. Those text was the license and how you could use their products, and these were very, very open, very generous. Basically anyone could take the products produced by the Ninth Age and sell them for profit if they wanted to. Use them however they liked. On one condition though, that they don't edit the product. You're not allowed to add anything or change anything in the product itself. So a miniature company couldn't start selling our books and include inserts in the book that tells the reader what models to use, for example. What they could do is include a pamphlet with the purchase of a book that contains this stuff, but the book itself has to be self-contained and complete the way it is downloaded from the Ninth Age site. So that's the only big condition with downloading things. But overall, it's a very open license that companies can use to make a profit if they want to. So this topic is mainly about ideas to change this setup. So we will look into some of those ideas. They pop up on the forums from time to time, both internal and public forums. The way I've seen them, I've grouped them into 3 different categories that I'm calling the Ninth Age Incorporated, exclusive marketing, and finally work rewards. The last 2 can probably be combined, as one focuses on income and the other on expenses, but I still feel that these are pretty distinctive ideas, and they represent different levels of commitment to money, basically, and how much the project would use them. So we will start with the Ninth Age Incorporated, which is the one that would use money the most. The idea is really simple. You turn the Ninth Age into a corporation, a company that produces games and sells them at a profit, potentially even expanding into producing miniatures down the line and selling those as well. So it's basically becoming just another miniature company among others. And the obvious advantage to this is that it works. I mean, there are other companies out there, so it's proven to be possible to run a company making rules and models. So it shouldn't be impossible to find a niche and provide rules. There is of course a lot of competition, but if you use clever marketing strategies and such, you could find your way, I'm sure. However, there are problems. The biggest perhaps is how you're gonna convert the volunteer project that it is into a company. For starters, there are legal issues with it. What happens to all the content that has been produced so far? Can it just be transferred to the company? Probably not, because the people who worked on that volunteered their time for this license that it uses today, not for the company itself to make money from it, sell it. It was under the premise that it would be provided for free. So yeah, that's a really big issue. I don't think it can be overcome, but let's say that it can be. You'd still have issues with deciding how the company should be structured. Should every single staff member of the 9th Age be converted into an employee? And what would that look like? Would they all have full-time jobs or just work a few hours and get compensation? I don't think either would work, because I don't think it's you'd have enough income to supply all of them, or even just all of them part-time. Because, well, the 9th Age is a lot of things, but I wouldn't say that it is effective. There's a lot of work hours being put into it, but not that much to show for it, really. Which is, of course, a weakness, but it's what comes with the structure we use. So it would probably be more sensible to slim it down to just a few staff members, fewer employees. But then how are you gonna choose which one stays and which one goes? And such. But actually I don't think that would be the real problem with it. I think it would be harder to actually find people who'd be interested in staying. Because the people working on the 9th Age, they do it as a side activity, as part of their hobby, and not that many people are willing to turn their hobby into their work and risk everything, basically. I mean, you'd have to turn it into full-time jobs, people making a living out of it, and that is a big risk. So from that point of view, I don't think transforming the existing company into the existing project into a company would work. But even if it did, it's hard to say exactly what consequences it would have, especially for the game. You'd get into problems with a sales-driven design, perhaps, where it's not only the balance and the rules that are the main drivers of the changes in the game, but also how well it sells. And all that, you'd risk getting power creep from this, with each new release being more powerful than the last, just to encourage it being purchased. This, of course, can be avoided. There are companies out there who produce games that manage to avoid this, but it is a concern, certainly. You'd also really lose a lot of the identity of the game. I talked last episode about community driven, and all of that can-do spirit, where people pick up their ideas and provide them for the project, would be lost. So yeah, it would be a completely different thing. Maybe a good thing. It's possible that it could get a lot larger spread and a lot larger player base. But it also would be such a different thing that it's hard to compare. The biggest problem, or well, the reason it hasn't happened though, is of course that the people who are in charge of the project, and the people who founded it, they are simply not interested in this, because it would be such a different thing. They didn't want the company to provide a game, they wanted the community to work together to make a game. and that was easier to make a volunteer project for that purpose. So by and large, I just don't think it is at all feasible to make the Ninth Age as it is today into a company that produces and sells their games to people, to customers. If it had been started out as such, it could have worked. It could have been a great game, a large game with a big community. Today, you don't know, but it wouldn't have been the Ninth Age that we know today. It would have been something different, maybe good, maybe bad. But the differences are so large that it's difficult to compare, really. So, moving on to the next idea, I guess, which is what I called exclusive marketing, which is probably a horrible name for it, but I wanted something to call it by. So this idea is mainly an idea for how to generate an income, a profit for the game, for the project, and a little bit of how that would be used to generate further income, basically, to keep it sustainable. So the majority of the project would remain the same. It would still produce rules and slim rule books that everyone can download for free, and everything like that. The big difference would be in how the legendary material, which is that which contains fluff and art, how that would be handled. So the project, or a company very closely tied to the project, would print the books, physical books, and sell them to stores where people can buy them. And the profit made from this would be put into marketing to bring more people into the hobby, more customers who would buy more books, and to get a good circle that sustains you. And so far, I love this idea. I would love to see books in stores. I would buy some of them, certainly, most of them probably, because I love the fluff of the Ninth Age. And I would like to support the project and the stores that support the project. Also, nothing would I actually have to change for this to be possible within the project, that is. Anyone could start up this company as it is today, and produce the books, sell them to stores, and make a profit, and put that into marketing. They can put the money into anything they want, but the marketing would perhaps benefit them then. The problem is that perhaps this business strategy isn't that lucrative. There's just not that much money to be made, not that many customers, and such problems. So, for starters, the army books, which is a large portion of the legendary stuff, would only interest a fraction of the community, because not everyone plays plays every faction. So I'm not sure there are enough people willing to put money into buying books for the game. some issues with wet paint here. There are, however, companies today that do pretty much this thing. We have Stormrider, for example, who are ready to, when the 2.0 army book, full legendary army book, is released. Currently it's only in not army book, main rulebook. When that one is released anew, Stormrider will make a Kickstarter to print it, and together with some extra material, pictures of armies and such, and make a profit of it and all of that. I'm really excited for this, and I hope that the Ninth Age releases this book soon, so that the Kickstarter can begin. I would get a few copies myself. I even contributed some pictures for this compendium with army pictures of my Vampire Covenant army. So I will link their page down below. You can check that out if you want to know more. Moving on. Another issue that I've seen been brought up in discussions about this is the issue of free riding, it's called. So it's an economic thing where by doing marketing for the project, a company would not only benefit itself but also every other company that is connected to the Ninth Age, which sounds like a good thing, but it really means that none of the companies will be interested in doing marketing, because they will just hope that someone else does it, because that's free marketing. As an example, if you're a company that will print the books, and you sell them at a pretty high margin, so that you get a lot of profit that can be put into marketing. Another company could come along and print the books and sell them at a lower margin, and suddenly no one would buy from you, but they get to reap the benefits of your marketing. I don't really know enough about economics to be sure if this is an issue. It sounds like it could be, and maybe that's why no company has really gone in and done marketing for the Ninth Age. So that sounds reasonable, I think. Another issue I've seen brought up is that a company producing content, producing books, would have to compete with the books being free to download online, and therefore no one would do it, because no one would buy it. Not only would this be an issue for the companies producing the books, but also it would probably be off-putting for the stores that would sell the books to the players. Perhaps they would reason that since this is available free online, why would they put it in stores? No one would be stupid enough to buy it. And here I'm not sure that this would be such a big issue, actually, because I don't think it would actually affect the sales that much, because the people buying the books buy them because they are fans. I don't think in today's world there would be people walking into stores, seeing the books and buying it on spot. If they are interested in the fluff, they will buy the books, the fluff and the art, regardless if it's available online, pretty much. That's at least my theory. Only fans would buy it anyway. There's also been some talk about it being free. Then you could use services such as Lulu to print your own copies, so you wouldn't buy the ones that are in the store anyway, because you can get them probably cheaper from Lulu. And well, I can only speak for myself here, but I would be too lazy to do that. If I see the book in a store, I would probably pick it up, since I'm a fan of the game. So that's my take on it. But those who do worry about this, I've seen propose a few solutions. And the most prominent I've seen is to stop providing the legendary books for free download, basically. And you'd only give a single company license to sell them, to produce and sell them. That way they can keep the margins high and make a good profit to put into marketing that only they will benefit from, and of course the community as a whole. It sounds reasonable, I think, that maybe the business aspect of the whole thing would be more attractive under those conditions, but I don't think it would be worth it. I see the download for free selling point of introducing people to the game as really important to the pitch. It would be a lot harder to get people into the hobby if things weren't free. Even if the slim rules that are all you need to play the game would be free, it's not good, I think. It's already hard enough to get people interested in the background of the Ninth Age and fluff. Putting up a money barrier for that is not good, I think. Another small issue I have with it is that I really appreciate having the books in PDF format, because when searching for fluff, Control F is your friend. Of course, then if you make it physical books that are sold in store, you could also probably provide a PDF available to those who purchase those books, so that could be amended, but still. Yeah, to summarize, I think it's a great idea to put books into stores, and I think it's a great idea to market it more, to bring more people into the hobby, because those are just fantastic things in general. But if it's necessary to make the legendary books, to stop making them available for free download, then I don't think it's worth it. One thing I should point out, this available for free download thing would only affect future books. The ones that are already written would not be affected the way I understand it, because those were written under the premise of being free for download, so that's the way it's gonna stay basically. But future books only being available through payment in stores or such, I don't think it is a good idea. So that brings us to the last of the three ideas, which I've chosen to call work rewards, which is well, basically what a salary is, and that's also the idea. The donations that a project gets would be possible to spend on compensation for work, basically, for contributions. Mainly, I've seen this suggestion pop up in the internal forums, and I've also seen it mostly suggested to be used to compensate artists and writers for their contributions to the legendary army books, the legendary books in general. So they would get another tool to encourage people to contribute to the project. And also they could actually put up deadlines when things would need to be done, because today you can't really do that because it's all volunteer work. So it's hard to plan things. So I think it sounds good. It would probably mean that they can produce more books faster. And that's always good. I do worry though about where you would draw the line, who would get paid and who wouldn't. I mean, art and fluff sounds good. Limited to those. But I personally could see layout also being worthy of compensation. Not to mention the rules team and the advisory board who put countless hours into the game. It's it's hard to define. I mean, if you pay people for writing a single fluff piece for the book, okay. What about people who coordinate all the writing and develop all the fluff that is used as a backbone for writing the pieces? Would those get compensation? I don't know. It's something that would be that you'd have to figure out, at least. I'm sure it can be defined well and clearly, but maybe you'd get some disgruntlement about which parts get paid and which don't. And that brings us to another issue of it. And that is how it would affect people who don't get paid, who volunteer their work. I think it's a big risk of if you know that other people in the project are getting paid, your motivation to do things for free would really take a hit. That could be a big problem. Not sure the project could at all afford that. Speaking of afford, there's also the issue of how the project would get enough money to spend on this. But I think some fairly easy changes can be made to solve that. some efforts to encourage people to donate more. As I said, the button to donate is quite well hidden on the forums, so if they made that easier to find, it would help. They could also insert prompts and pop-up windows when you download things that ask if the people downloading wants to support them. I know other volunteer projects do that. Open source software and such. It can be annoying, but I think we'll survive that. You can even do Kickstarters for producing a content for a specific book. So now they could start a Kickstarter for writing content and making art for the Infernal Dwarf army book. So if you put some money into that Kickstarter, you know that money will go towards that purpose. And maybe you can get some small reward for it too, I don't know. That could probably be sold, at least for a while. I don't know how long term people's willingness to donate to the project is. To a large part, I think that's something people do once. So yeah, it could be an issue. So I don't think I have much more to say about that idea. I think it could work, but there are some problems with it, and you need to figure those out before. It could also be combined with the exclusive marketing strategy as a way to generate profit. Some of the profit you make from selling books could be put into actually writing the next book, and so forth. So, a closing thought before I wrap this up. One thing that I've noticed, that's a common theme with these threads, these suggestions, is that oftentimes the people who make them, who suggest these changes, are from the States, the United States of America. So much that I don't think it's a coincidence. And I think it has a cultural explanation. The way I understand it, in America, most pickup games that you play not at your own house or at your opponent's house, those games are played in stores. In Europe, those games are played in clubs instead. In America, it's also common that tournaments are hosted in stores, while in Europe it's clubs who host tournaments, and they rent space in the large halls or schools and such, not connected to stores. At least it's that way in Sweden, but I think it goes for large parts of Europe at least. I think I think this difference makes it so that the US scene has a much larger interest in putting books into stores, because the store owners, they will only let you play in the store if the players actually buy things. They want to have products specifically for each game they play, each game that is played in their store. And even though 9th Age players are interested in miniatures from all companies and hobby material, of course, not having a product that's specific to them can perhaps be a bit weird. So in the American scene, they would need the books to be available as a sales pitch to be able to play in stores. While in Europe, the clubs rely on, they can take they can charge for membership and get money from there. It doesn't matter what game you play then. And they often get support from the local government and such. So money is not the driving force behind it in the same way. So I think that makes a big difference to why it is the way it is. Yeah, anyway. I think that will about do it for this time. I've made some progress on this little orc of mine. His skin turned out really well, I think. As usual, I take some pictures and share them with you on the screen. Yeah, I'm really quite happy with him. I think he will turn out well when I'm finished. So yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.